Apex Legends has come out of nowhere to show Battle Royale just how it should be done. And with over 25 million players in a little over a week, it's fair to say that it's been a big success. But if you're wanting to play the game on PC, you're probably interested in performance. So I've grabbed all sorts of various different graphics cards to show you just how they perform. Now my personal setup that I've been using throughout the launch has been a high refresh rate 1440p monitor, and I've paired this with an RTX 2070 graphics card. And I've actually found this to be an almost ideal pairing if you're wanting to maximise resolution, while of course maintaining smoothness. The game actually runs on a modified version of the Source engine, and while it's not the best looking game I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination, it runs really well on even the lower end GTX 1050 Ti at very comfortable frame rates. Jumping into the numbers, I've paired up the i7-8086K with graphics cards from both Nvidia and AMD, all of them of course running at the 3 major resolutions. Now Battle Royale is actually a genre that can really benefit from increased resolution, as playing at 4K will let you see movement at range with increased clarity, as at the higher settings, draw distance actually seems to be very far indeed. But having said that, Apex doesn't run comfortably at 4K on the majority of cards, as while frame times are quite consistent, Battlefield 1 actually saw us hit over 100 FPS on the 2080 Ti, whereas here it hovers around 85, but it can quite frequently kick down into the high 50s in the very intense situations. To combat this, Respawn have actually implemented an adaptive resolution feature, and this will let you run at your desired frame rate at pretty much all times, and it works by kicking down the resolution whenever you need the frame rate the most. It's a very neat trick, and is highly recommended for those of you on 4K panels that maybe don't have the horsepower to hit 60 FPS at all times. Now all of the cards did do a very good job at the lower resolutions, and it's only really the 1050 Ti that expectedly struggles a bit with 1440. All of my results are set to the highest settings though, with the maximum texture option that will actually fit in each card's frame buffer. So be sure to lower down settings such as ambient occlusion to actually gain a few extra FPS without putting yourself at really any disadvantage at all. As for the actual differences between each of the visual settings, well, it's not really as noticeable as I would have expected. So be sure to actually have a play around to find the right balance that suits you, as I was someone that's cranked all the settings up to high, but in actual fact, some of them on medium, you can't really tell that much of a difference. As for my graphics card recommendations, well, if you're wanting to play at 1080p, then anything from a 1050 Ti will actually work great. But for 1440p and maybe ultra wide, then consider a 1060, 580 or something a little bit higher, as this will give you a great experience. But if you're wanting to play over 60 FPS, or maybe at 4K, then obviously you're going to need to look at something a little bit more spicier to really take full advantage of those panels. And if you're looking at the two combined, well, that's when the RTX 2080 Ti will unfortunately get called into play and cost you a pretty penny. But that's my quick overview of Apex on the PC. It's fantastic to see another free-to-play Royale, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes in the next couple of months and whether it really is as successful as its closest competitor, Fortnite. What do you guys think of the game? Are you still playing it? Have you tried it yet? Be interested to hear your thoughts and how it runs on your computer. At the time of filming, make sure if you're running an Nvidia card that you use the driver 417, as 418 seems to give some crashes. It's probably Apex's side, but we don't really know, so I will update this video I guess when that issue is fixed. Enough rambling for me. Thank you, I'll see you in the next one.